comparable speed, can kill you on roughly turn 3. Omnitel can be a little faster. I think Omnitel can actually just go turn 2 show and tell and just get that omniscience into play. But in general, you'd say 3 or 4 is generally the kill range for that deck.
Yeah, so Max Brown, actually his Omnitel deck is a duo color deck. He is running red. He's running a Burning Wish package as opposed to the traditional Cunning Wish package.
Yeah, so has basically access to 7 show and tells with his between Burning Wish and actual show and tell.
And we are underway. Max leads off on a basic island. We see a pair of Burning Wishes in his hand. Matt will respond though with a fetch land and a Green Sun Zenith for Dryad Arbor.
So Max did exactly what he needed to do in this match, and he won the die roll. That is obviously very huge in a combo mirror.
That does help. Actually, these combo decks are of comparable speed, so the die roll is just that crucial. One thing that Max also has to be aware of is when he show and tells in this matchup, he probably needs to show and tell the Dream Halls or the Omniscience into play. If he show and tells Emrakul, there's a decent chance that Matt can put an elf into play that'll let him untap and win the following turn.
Yeah, you can't. He only has 1 copy of Emrakul. His game plan is usually just get an Omniscience or a Dream Halls into play and win through Enter the Infinite. But you're right, he does have 1 copy of Emrakul, which allows him a backup win that way. But yeah, generally I agree with you. He wants to be able to get those cards into play. Otherwise, you can't give Matt another turn to untap.
Yeah, Matt can do something like put Gaia's Cradle into play, and then that might be enough to let him win.
Yeah, so Matt here deciding what he wants to do with this Ponder. It's a turn 2 Ponder. Not sure what he's trying to dig for here. I think he might have a Burning Wish, so he has the show part. Maybe he's looking for Omniscience.
Yeah, he has a pair of Burning Wishes. Right now trying to set up, you see an Enter the Infinite, Scalding Tarn. Just setting up, remember, game 1, you're just trying to go as fast as possible as he lays Scalding Tarn.
So, okay, so it looks like he has everything but the Omniscience or Dream Halls. He has a Lotus Petal, he has a Burning Wish, he has the Show and Tell already, along with Enter the Infinites, but he doesn't have a way to actually cast those spells for free.
Right. So we see a turn 2 Quirion Ranger for Matt. Still right now not in danger of a combo, but
he does have a Gaia's Cradle and a Wirewood Symbiote in his hand, so he can generate a lot of mana. It looks like he has 2 Gaia's Cradles, and he hasn't played a land yet this turn because he went turn 1 Green Sun Zenith for the Dryad Arbor, so he could play a Gaia's Cradle and start generating a lot of creatures this turn.
Now, Matt has to watch out. You said if Max has the Lotus Petal and land next turn, Max can Cunning Wish for a Pyroclasm out of his board and Pyroclasm.
A Burning Wish, rather.
Or Burning Wish, sorry, Burning Wish for a Pyroclasm.
So yeah, if he has a 3rd land, he can play land, Burning Wish for Pyroclasm, to kind of slow down Matt enough, because he does have that Show and Tell. He doesn't need to Burning Wish for Show and Tell because he has it already.
Right, and especially because Matt has played a Dryad Arbor this game. That could be a pretty serious play.
Yeah, it would turn off Gaia's Cradle, and it would kill the Dryad Arbor, leaving Matt with just basically a Bayou in play.
All right, Gaia's Cradle on 3. It's for 3 mana, getting Green Sun Zenith. Matt will probably get an Elvish Visionary here, and he starts the Symbiote Visionary card advantage engine.
And the funny thing is about a Pyroclasm, it would slow Matt down, but it wouldn't necessarily wreck his creatures because you could just start bouncing stuff with the Symbiote and the Ranger.
Yeah, I mean, what Matt will probably do is he'll want to use the Wirewood Symbiote at every possible moment, so you may even see him bounce the Visionary this turn with the Symbiote so that he can bounce something again next turn.
Oh, wow, he drew a Heritage Druid there. So a lot of cards that allow him to ramp up his mana. He does have a Natural Order, too. So it looks like if Max doesn't do something next turn, either Pyroclasm or get an Omniscience into play or Dream Halls, it looks like Matt will be able to win the game next turn, which is turn 3.
We're not done this turn. So Quirion Ranger is able to bounce Bayou to untap Dryad Arbor. It lets Matt make Heritage Druid, and now Matt's still going.
But he doesn't have any. He doesn't have any active creatures. Oh, that's true. If he can get enough creatures to make the Behemoth big enough this turn, I just don't know. He doesn't have any creatures that can attack this turn other than the Quirion Ranger, I believe.
Right. So we're going to go ahead and make 3 mana, use the Wirewood Symbiote to untap Dryad Arbor, and bounce Visionary, recast Visionary for a card.
Ooh, Gitaxian Probe.
All right, so Probe, a little bit of a difference in Matt's deck. He runs 2 Gitaxian Probes, and now he sees he's playing against 2 Petals, a Show and Tell, and 2 Burning Wishes and an Enter.
So this is interesting here because it gives Matt information. He knows that he's going to have to contend with a Burning Wish potentially and a Pyroclasm. He doesn't know exactly what's in Max Brown's sideboard, but I think it's safe to assume there might be some sort of Wrath effect in either Pyroclasm or Rough and Tumble.
Yeah, Maxwell Brown has a couple of options. He also can... He has a route which this typically only happens once he has a Omniscience in play, but he can get Time of Need into Emrakul off the board too through Burning Wish.
So let's see. Max drew his first turn. Not sure what he drew, but he's going to sack a Scalding Tarn to get. My guess is a Volcanic Island, or yep, Volcanic
Yep.
Island. Not sure if he drew a third land or if he's going to have to sack both his Lotus Petals, or maybe if he just drew an Omniscience. But
Yeah. I do think he has to go for the Pyroclasm here if he didn't draw the combo piece.
yeah, I don't think you can afford to give Matt another turn with all of that in play.
All right, so Burning Wish will be cast, and we anticipate a Pyroclasm coming out of the board. And he's
No.
going to go with Tremor.
Okay.
That way he can save one of his 2 Lotus Petals.
So he has a Tremor in his sideboard. This will do. We'll bring up Tremor for you. It's not a card that a lot of people are familiar with, especially outside of the Legacy community.
Just a little Pyroclasm.
It's basically a mini Pyroclasm. 1 red from Visions. Tremor deals 1 damage to each creature without flying. So Max is able to save a little mana there, and still has access to a Lotus Petal. So if he can still get 3 mana next turn to cast a Show and Tell if he draws an Omniscience.
And speaking of saving, Matt's able to save 1 creature here thanks to Wirewood Symbiote. He cannot save the Symbiote, though, and he's going to choose Dryad Arbor as the creature to save. He's going to bounce the Dryad Arbor, untapping Heritage Druid. And, oh no, sorry. Quirion Ranger bounces the Dryad Arbor to untap 1, and then the Wirewood Symbiote saved the Quirion Ranger.
Exactly.
He's able to save 2 of his cards.
So he saved the Dryad Arbor and a Quirion Ranger, and now he's going to start rebuilding again.
Yeah, but this has probably bought Max 2 turns here.
Oh, he drew Dream Halls.
Well, so he has Dream Halls. He has the Show and Tell. I think he can do the entire combo here. So he's going to go ahead and Show and Tell. He can put Dream Halls into play. He can pitch Burning Wish to Burning Wish, finding a blue card and cast the Enter. This should be good. So see Dream Halls. Every player can play spells for free by pitching them. Wish, pitching Wish. I think as long as the card's blue here.
Yeah,
Max
as long as he has a blue sorcery in his sideboard, which he does, Eye of Nowhere will get pitched to cast Enter into Infinites, and now he will draw the rest of his deck.
Yeah, Max does play 4 Burning Wishes, so he is still able to wish for his win con. I think if you're Matt, I almost wait for my opponent. I'd make Max do it. I'd make him prove to me he's playing 4 Burning Wishes instead of 3. You know, Max has gone through 3 Burning Wishes, and I'm not positive he has the kill con.
So Max Brown wins game 1. Very close game there. Thankfully, he did have a Pyroclasm for that Tremor, which basically gave him an extra turn he needed against Matt. Now, Matt was threatening lethal next turn because he did have a natural order. So, unfortunately for Matt, that die roll was very important there. If he was on the play, he probably wins that game because he gets his 3rd turn. Max Brown a little fortunate there. And now we're moving to game 2. And what do you think? What do you think Matt does in what do you think Max does in game 2?
Well, Max doesn't have too much of a sideboard because he's playing a wish board. So when you look at the cards that are actually in the sideboard as sideboard cards, it's 3 Ley Lines, 3 Red Blasts, and a Jace. There's a chance that if he knows that Matt will probably board in some number of Thoughtseizes. I don't think it's enough that right Ley Line comes in. So my guess is that Max doesn't sideboard in the matchup. He could main deck a Pyroclasm if he wanted.
Yeah, I actually think he would bring in both Pyroclasms, simply because he still has a Wrath effect in Tremor that he can wish for, as we saw. And I think just being able to draw that Pyroclasm is so huge in this matchup, particularly when you're in the draw. You don't have as much time to be able to go something like Burning Wish and cast it in the same turn, particularly when you're on the draw. And it took almost it would take 2 Lotus Petals basically to do something like that. So generally, if you are going to Burning Wish or something, you're probably going to Burning Wish for Tremor, which is generally good enough against a deck like Elves.
Yeah. So
on Matt's side of the board, he has a lot more options than Max because he isn't a Wish sideboard. He has 4 copies of Cabal Therapy, 2 Thoughtseize, 3 Abrupt Decay, 1 Progenitus, 1 Worldspine Worm, which are basically his natural order targets. He has 1 Scavenging Ooze, 1 Gaddock Teeg, 1 Kozali Pride Mage, and 1 natural order. Now, the interesting thing about Gaddock Teeg is if Matt can cast it, it will prevent Max from actually being able to cast Dream Halls, which is something he can do because he has cards like Ancient Tomb City Traders, but it still doesn't get around Burning Wish for Show and Tell or just hard casting Show and Tell, and it dies to cards like Pyroclasm anyway. So not sure Gaddock Teeg is good enough in this matchup because it actually shuts off your Green Sun Zenith. So
right, there's some collateral damage there. I think on the draw, Matt may go to that card more as he needs to be more defensive, but certainly if he's trying to be the aggressive deck, he doesn't need to be boarding in Gaddock Teeg. I think we still may see it. Obviously, the cards he really wants are the Cabal Therapies and Thoughtseizes.
Well,
here.
the only good thing about Gaddock Teeg would be it doesn't allow Max to cast the even though he could get an Omniscience into play, and they're technically free,
He's
they're
still
still casting them.
Yeah, he can't
So
cast
you
the Enter the
can't cast
Infinite.
Enter the Infinites, but you'd have to imagine if he has an Omniscience in play, there's so many ways that he can get around Gaddock Teeg. You know, he just needs a Burning Wish. So
So typically, what they'll try to do there is, he can have a Burning Wish. He can Burning Wish for a Clasm. More often, what he'll do then is he'll Burning Wish for Time of Need for Emrakul, and then cast Emrakul.
yeah. So I think I'm with you. I don't know if Matt brings it in on the play or draw, if it changes his decision making or not. But I think it's worth bringing in. But I don't know how devastating it is against this Omnitel deck because there are 4 Burning Wish that can answer it. Cabal Therapy, I think, comes in along with the Thought Seize. I think the better plan for Matt is usually just going after the hand. Cards like Thought Seize and Cabal Therapy are very effective against the combo deck. At the same time, you don't know if Max can afford to bring in cards like Leyline of Sanctity, which generally shut off that discard strategy because you're still playing against a combo deck that doesn't need to target you to win.
Yeah, I mean, and so Matt has to bring in the discard because I think there is a certain concession for him that he is probably the slower combo deck of the two.
Mm-hmm. And Cabal Therapy is actually really good out of the board in his deck because not only does he have a lot of creatures that he can sack to flash it back, but he has 2 copies of Gataxian Probe, which means he can actually hit,
he can hit both
pretty
halves
well
of
if he
the
gets
therapy.
Gataxian Probe going. So it looks like both players are presenting, and we're going to see whether or not anybody wants to mulligan for Game 2 here. Max Brown obviously up Game 1. Matt Nass is going to be on the play, which is very important in this matchup. So let's see if Matt's probably a little improved after board because of that discard. Let's see if both players want to keep their hands. Looks like yes, both players agree to keep. And Matt does have that Cabal Therapy that we were talking about boarding in.
All right, so see, he's going to go for a Bayou off a fetch land, Cabal Therapy, and we'll see what the name is here.
Yeah, and this is the name of the game for Matt after board. It's all about using my discard to slow you down enough so that I can win next turn.
My guess would be that he names Show and Tell. We will confirm what he named here.
Oh, so he named Burning Wish, which makes sense. There was more copies of Burning Wish in his deck than Show and Tell. So names Burning Wish, and he misses, yet good news for him. There are 2 copies that Enter the Infinites in Max sideboard, so he could try to go after the next turn. Unfortunately, Max does have a Force of Will, and he would almost assuredly use the Force of Will when Matt tries to flash back that Cabal Therapy.
Yeah, so we see a second land drawn by Max Brown.
Let's see if he uses the Gataxian Probe here. We're going to get a free Gataxian Probe with Phyrexian mana. Max goes down to 18. We see Heritage Druid, Craterhoof Behemoth, Green Sun Zenith, and 2 sack lands on Matt's side of the board. So not a very good hand for Matt, despite the fact that he had a turn 1 therapy.
Yeah, that's a little underwhelming of a hand for him. I mean, I think it really is embracing the control role that he's on here.
Yeah.
This doesn't have a good Goldfish turn, but it is disruptive and has some powerful cards in it.
Yeah, he's in a real tough spot here because not only does he have to contend with a Pyroclasm at a certain point from Max, but if he tries to flashback a therapy, he's going to lose his creature and he'll lose the therapy to just a Force of Will. So, which I would expect Matt to do because he doesn't want to lose both his Enter the Infinites.
Right. Max actually played, so he'd lose both of them. He'd have to find the third Enter the Infinite then.
Well, yeah. So I think he would I think he'd just pitch one of the Enter the Infinites to the Force of Will and encounter Cabal Therapy. So you have to imagine he's going to go for it there. And Matt now you could tell that he's facing an uphill battle here. He's going to try to figure out how to navigate this turn. He's got a Heritage Druid and a Wirewitch Symbiote along with a Green Sun Zenith.
Yeah, because he doesn't have too many cards in hand, it's likely that he's going to want a Green Sun Zenith for the Elvish Visionary again, unless has the Gaddock Teeg and decides it's a game where he wants to cast Gaddock Teeg.
Ooh, so Max did bring in those Leyline of Sanctities, fearing the discard out of Matt's deck. Let's see how relevant it's going to be. We could see Max just pull the trigger on the Pyroclasm to deal with the Wirewitch Symbiote because that is an important card out of Matt's deck.
Well, the thing is that if Matt has the Symbiote, it's going to be hard for Max to get much better than a 2-for-1 off this Pyroclasm because Matt will never truly commit to the board.
Yeah, so I think Matt's okay. I think Max is okay with just casting Pyroclasm here because he doesn't have many other options available to him.
Well, the big thing is that he's missing a piece right now. And
he's basically missing 2 pieces because he doesn't have a way to he doesn't have Omniscience or Dream Halls, and he doesn't have a way to get it into play either.
Right. I mean, I think the best draw from him at this point is Dream Halls because he's 1 mana short of just casting Dream Halls.
Dream Halls would be great because he can cast it, and he has the Enter the Infinites in his hand already. So Matt's going to sack the Windswept Heath to get a Dryad Arbor, and we know, and Max knows what's in Matt's hand because he drew the Wirewood Symbiote last turn, so he knows he just has a Behemoth and a Heritage Druid left, and a Green Sun Zenith.
Dryad Arbor, good to get there. It does some incremental damage, but also plays really well with a Gaia's Cradle were Matt to draw one.
Wow, so Matt drew yet another land.
Yeah,
and,
let's see. That's uncommon for his deck. As we know, Elf combo only plays 18 lands, and it overloads on fetch lands on top of that.
So Matt sacks the Dryad Arbor to Cabal Therapy, and as expected, Max uses the Force of Will on it. Pitching, I believe, in Enter the Infinites.
Yes, right now Max has Leyline, Petal, Land, Enter.
So there's that Gaddock Teeg, and that's going to be hard. Yeah, so now Max not only doesn't have any of the combo pieces, but he needs to find the Burning Wish to actually deal with the Gaddock Teeg as well.
Well, a huge pair of draws from Max. He brainstorms there. He's going to get to put back the Leyline of Sanctity, but more importantly, he drew an Ancient Tomb and a Dream Halls that time, which puts him just an answer of to Gaddock Teeg away from being able to combo here.
Yeah, so probably regrets using that Pyroclasm now, but he still, again, Matt's doesn't have that much pressure on the board. He used a Zenith, he has a Heritage Druid, and he has that Behemoth in his hand, which is likely just going to be stuck there for at least 4 more turns, or you never know, but probably for a while. Meanwhile, Max is going to be able to cycle away that Leyline of Sanctity, which he's probably not going to be able to cast this game, and try to draw into some more Ponders and Brainstorms.
So Gitaxian Probe from Matt will get him up to date on what's going on with Max's hand. So he does have the 2 lands, the Ancient Tomb, a fetch land, Enter the Infinite, and Dream Halls. So Matt now knows that Max does have enough mana to cast Dream Halls, provided Max can get the Gaddock Teeg off the board.
Yeah, and he could, even though if he did board in both the Pyroclasms, he can still Burning Wish for Eye of Nowhere, which will get the Gaddock Teeg off the board for a turn. But he'll have to do everything in one turn, though.
Right. So we see the Heritage Druid come out of Matt's hand, a 3rd land, and a pass back. Max is going to crack a fetch land to get the cards he put back off the top of the library.
So if Matt sacks the Windswept Heath to get a Dryad Arbor, he can get 4 points of power on the board, and let's start pressuring Max Lifesteal a little more. But it's still, I don't know if it'll be a fast enough clock. Let's see if Max can find something. He does have a lot of cantrips in his deck, but I think he really just needs a Burning Wish here. Or or if he boarded in 2 of the Pyroclasms.
Yeah, then he needs the other Pyroclasm.
Yeah, not sure if he boarded in 1 or just left 1 as a board in 2, or just left 1 in as a sideboard bullet.
He could also draw a Show and Tell and try to Show and Tell in the Dream Halls.
Yeah, but he still can't cast the Enter Infinites.
Oh right, yeah. He can't, absolutely. So you need the Burning Wish really just needs to be part of the equation.
Yeah, so Gaddock Teeg doing some serious work here. Otherwise, Matt would have lost this game. And Matt's thinking about what he wants to do here. Is he going to sack that Windswept Heath for the Dryad Arbor? It looks like that is what we're going to do here.
All right, so Windswept Heath cracked there. Matt going what it looks like for another Dryad Arbor. He does play 2. So the first one was used to Cabal Therapy that turn.
Yeah, puts it right up there with the attacker. Is not even.
Yeah, it's not being a land.
It's
Matt
not going to be a land,
really
probably.
Need that.
And let's see. Could if we get a natural order here, he's got a Gaia's Cradle. Wow. So
yeah, an excellent draw there. So first, Matt starts with a swing for 4. That'll put Max down to 10. Gaia's Cradle will be a very good draw here. That's going to go ahead. Yeah. He can tap for 5 now with no plays.
So if he draws another Gaia's Cradle, then that Behemoth is coming into play next turn.
Yeah.
So let's see. Max still draws nothing to deal with that Gaddock Teeg.
Yep, and he draws Lotus Petal, plays Ancient Tomb. So we see another land from Matt. This is a fetch land crack.
And I don't think he has any more copies of Dryad Arbor in his deck. Can he cast? I don't think he can cast Behemoth this turn, can he?
Well, he just has 7 mana right now, and there isn't. I think if he plays 2 1-mana elves, if he somehow had 2 1-mana elves, he would have enough, but he only doesn't have enough cards for that.
Let's see if he has a Visionary into elf. No, he's just going to sack to thin out his deck and attack again. Max drops to 6 here.
And I don't know. I would think Matt had a way to make this a 1-turn clock. It might still just be a 2-turn. Well, Max will help. We'll go down to 5.
Yeah, Max needs to draw it this turn. Doesn't have he needs to draw either the Burning Wish or if he boarded. Yeah, so it looks like he boarded in both Pyroclasms. So he's going to have to draw the Pyroclasm. I don't think Burning Wish for
Tremor's
Tremor.
enough anymore.
Yeah, Burning Wish for Eye of Nowhere is not going to be enough, and Tremor obviously won't do anything. So let's see.
Also of concern to Max is even if he has one more turn to live, he'll be down to 1, which means that he wouldn't be able to tap the Ancient Tomb anymore.
So Max wasn't able to find an answer, and Matt evens up the match so far at 1-1. But I still think Max is okay because now in Game 3 he's going to be on the play, and now he has a lot more information. He knows that he has Gaddock Teeth to contend with. Had he known that, he probably doesn't pull the trigger on the Pyroclasm. And obviously the whole game changes from there. So let's see what Max decides to do. Does he want to board out the Leyline of Sanctities? Is he not as concerned about the discard
I still
anymore?
think the Leyline of Sanctities are important in this matchup. You saw Max had to Force of Will a Cabal Therapy there because he knew that the therapy was going to hit his Force of Will. So he was worried it might hit his Force of Will. I think if he has the white Leyline up, then he would say in that game, if the Leyline was in his opening hand instead of later on in his hand, he would have had the Leyline and would have been able to Force of Will the Green Sun Zenith on 2, and they're keeping Gaddock Teeth off the board. Yeah,
so Max Brown now has a little more information than he did in Game 2, and he knows he has to deal with not only Thoughtseize and Cabal Therapy, but he also has to contend with Gaddock Teeth. And we'll see what he does in Game 3. It looks like he did go back to his sideboard to change some things around. But I'm with you. I think the only thing I might do is maybe keep one of the Pyroclasms in my sideboard because in that game, even a Burning Wish wouldn't have been out because both of them were in the main deck. So maybe you want to keep one in the main, one in the board. And maybe Leyline is worth it. Maybe just boarding in 3 Leyline and 1 Pyroclasm.
Well, typically you'd want to put 2 of your sweepers in the main and 1 in the board, so he has 3, Pyroclasm, Tremor. I think the reason he normally put the Pyroclasms in the main is you want to keep all your mana costs as low as possible. And that's why we were thinking you leave the Tremor in the board too. But now that he knows that Gaddock Teeth is really the problematic card, I think you're right that he just needs to have as much access to Pyroclasm as possible.
The question is, what do you board out, though? Because obviously you can't afford to board out too many cards in this matchup. Daze is probably not that incredible. So I could see boarding that card out along with the Jace Mind Sculptor.
Yeah, Jace the Mind Sculptor is really not a very powerful card here.
So Matt going down to 6, whereas Maxwell is satisfied with his opening 7. Looks like he has a Pyroclasm in some parts of the combo.
Yeah, when you're Matt, you always have to be a little worried in this matchup because there are some games where the Omnitel deck is on the play where they'll just blow you out of the water. They'll turn 1 a show and tell.
I think Matt knows he has to be aggressive when he's on the draw.
Yeah, he needs a discard spell of some sort.
He can't be comfortable with just a turn 3 kill sometimes. He needs to have either disruption or a turn 2 kill. But I think Matt knows this deck well enough to know that in this particular matchup, you have to try to be a little aggressive with your mulligans.
Yeah, well, turn 2 kills and turn 3 kills out of Elves, especially as they've moved away from the Glimpse of Nature package, are much harder to hit now.
Yeah.
It's really more of a Craterhoof combo deck at this point.
So let's see if Matt's 6-card hand is suitable. Probably looking for, either a quick Green Sun Zenith or some discard. Looks like we saw Cabal Therapy there, but does he have mana? No.
I think he had a Thoughtseize Therapy Deathrite Shaman hand, which is really good, except there was no land in it.
Yeah, so 1 sack land away from being a perfect hand for Matt, and Matt's now forced to go down to 5 cards, facing down a combo deck that has a full 7-card hand. So tough spot for Matt here, but if anyone knows how to play Elves in positions like this, it's Matt. So let's see if Matt can structure a 5-card hand here that can give him a little game against Max's opening 7.
Now, I was actually talking to Max before this round. Not only this is a top 8 implication match. Max actually picked up both his losses very early on in the tournament. So as a result, he was worried about losing some of these matches because his breakers are almost 5% lower than anyone else's here. Meaning if he won, he said if he won 2 of his last 2 rounds, he was not confident that he would actually make the top 8 cut at this point.
Yeah, those tiebreakers always always a problem.
Whereas Matt is with a 10-0 start, you have to think that his tiebreakers are very high.
I think that 5-card hand was 4 lands and an elf.
Well, that just can't win. So you have to go to 4.
Matt, unfortunately, has to go to 4.
So what he'll need, okay, I mean, obviously you can't be much of a chooser with a 4-card hand. But if he has a Glimpse of Nature hand, he actually can recoup from this card disadvantage to put up a fight, as long as Max doesn't have, say, a turn 2 or turn 3 kill.
I think Sackland, Deathrite, Thoughtseize, Cabal Therapy is probably the best he can hope for off of 4 cards in order to slow Max down enough to make sure that he doesn't lose on turn 3 or 4. But and then, like you said, Glimpse of Nature can obviously get him back in it, but it's going to be tough. I think
I wouldn't mind like Sackland, Sackland, Deathrite, Thoughtseize, Glimpse even. That'd be pretty decent.
Yeah.
He can at least have a board presence now.
Yeah, you draw a Gaia's Cradle, a couple more 1-drops. All right, so he has a Cabal Therapy, a Heritage Druid, a Gaia's Cradle, and a Sackland.
All right, well, that's very close to what we were saying.
There's
not
another 1-drop.
So he's going to go. Turn 1 is just a Polluted Delta for Max. Matt sacks a Misty Rainforest and is going to go for, well, we'll see if he wants to Therapy in the Dark. He's going to go ahead and do it.
Let's see. You think he's going to name Burning Wish again? I still think, yeah, Burning Wish is a pretty solid name here. In general, I don't, even though he missed last game, I think he's okay with naming Burning Wish because it not only finds combo pieces, but it can find Pyroclasms too. So let's see what Matt decides to name here.
I mean, I think it's Burning Wish or Show and Tell. You need to stop Max's fast draws. And because of that, Burning Wish is just a more likely candidate and a more versatile card. So I think you're right that you'd name the Burning Wish.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like Max has either Burning Wish or Show and Tell in his hand. Oh, wow. So he names Brainstorm. Very, very tricky. Tricky play by Matt Nass there. Decides to...
and that was huge.
Yeah.
What a name there. Look, so this hand was actually very weak for Max. It was a Brainstorm hand.
Wow.
Max was...
6 Soul Read by Matt Nass.
Well, the best part is Max, had he thought that Matt was going for the Brainstorm, he just would have cast Brainstorm in response. And now Matt's got a shot on this model before we see a Leyline of Sanctity drawn by Maxwell Brown.
He has more than a shot. I mean, actually,
he has a Cradle. Matt may very well get this.
Yeah, all because of that Cabal Therapy naming Brainstorm. That was huge because now Max can't protect those 2 Omniscience in his hand.
So we see Quirion Ranger, Heritage Druid, both from Matt Nass. He's going to go ahead and Therapy away the Heritage Druid, this time naming Pyroclasm.
Okay, so Pyroclasm gets named. He still has 2 copies of Omniscience, so he could still top deck a Show and Tell here. Or no, he needs a third land.
He needs a land and a Show and Tell.
Oh, now
there's the land.
There's
all
the
right,
third land.
So I mean, he'll play it, and okay,
no.
he's going to disguise it.
I like that.
All right, sure.
He wants to play. He wants to try to make Matt think he needs 2 top decks here.
Yeah. So Max's hand is
not sure
land,
what else.
Omniscience, Emrakul.
Nettle Sentinel comes down.
Now here's the thing: Matt has a Green Sun Zenith here, so I think he's just going to go ahead and Zenith out the Gaddock.
Oh wow. Yeah, this is quite the mulligan to 4 here by Matt Nass.
To be fair, the Gaddock doesn't disrupt Max's hand. If he draws a Show and Tell, Max still wins.
If
Show and Tell's the Omniscience into play, he didn't, and then he casts the Emrakul.
Yeah,
so he never actually cast a large non-creature spell.
And he drew a Burning Wish, so Burning Wish can search for a Show and Tell, and then
man, Max may still get this. All right. Much closer than we expect. Any sort of 7. Omnitel on 7 on the play versus Elves on the draw on 4. This is certainly closer than I had thought it might be.
Yeah, so Maxwell is going to get a 2 Volcanic Islands, cast Burning Wish, likely for Show and Tell, and now he just needs to dodge either Cabal Therapy or Thoughtseize from Matt for 1 turn.
And Matt has no cards in hand, so it'll just be a top deck.
And a Natural Order. There's a lot of top decks that Matt can have. Natural Order wins him the game.
Natural Order for Hoof is that Natural Order is enough.
Yeah, Natural Order. He has Gaia's Cradle, so that's more than enough. So let's see here. Oh no, he can't cast Natural Order because of Gaddock. So it's basically all Thoughtseize or Cabal Therapy.
He needs a disruption.
Flip it. Does he have it? Yes or no?
Matt peeks. Does he get it?
No, it doesn't look.
Doesn't look like. Okay. So
I don't think he would
swings
slow
5.
roll it. Let's see what he has in his hand. Oh, it's just a land.
Well, this should do it for Maxwell Brown.
So Max is going to sack his land. He's going to cast Show and Tell. Omniscience will come into play, and then he will just cast Emrakul.
Okay. You have to say, though, that has been – I will give Matt credit that Cabal Therapy has been one of the best therapies I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, that completely changed everything around because Max did not – obviously, he wanted to get rid of one of those or, like, protect his hand a little bit. But, wow, great read by Matt for naming Brainstorm. puts himself back in it off a mulligan to 4, but wasn't able to overcome a top deck Burning Wish from Max Brown.
So